Busy day on trade deadline day. It led to a wild 80 minutes for our buddy Adam Schefter. It all began 12:47 p.m. Eastern Time. News breaking that the AFC leading Colts are trading 2 first-round picks to the Jets for cornerback Sauce Gardner, bolstering Indy's defense. 4 minutes later, the Seahawks, tied for the best record in the NFC, trade for Saints receiver, big playmaker Rashid Shaheed, giving Sam Darnold another offensive weapon. And then, a little over an hour later, 2:05 Eastern, Jerry Jones drops the mic. He talked the talk and he walks the walk. He gets 3-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, which had our guy Swagoo fired up as the news broke.
He said something and he did it, y'all. He said it and he did it. Listen, I think this is huge for the Dallas Cowboys. They help bolster their pass rush, but they also get a guy that plays the run very well. And people probably scratching their head, well, they got Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark was more to solidify the run game. Quinnen is going to be both. And we've seen him play at the highest level as one of the defensive tackles in this league. I think this is a hell of a deal for the Dallas Cowboys to get an impact player right now.
We begin with this, and obviously there are a great many things to say. Jerry, I apologize. Yesterday I said you must never, if there's one thing I know, it's putting on a show and delivering a tease. So the other day, Jerry had teased, we got a big trade. And then all of a sudden the trade gets announced and I said, no, that's not how you pay off a tease. You don't pay off a tease with a linebacker that Cincinnati benched. But later in the day, if there's one thing Jerry knows, it's how to put on a show. Yep. He goes out and he gets a big-time player in Quinnen Williams in a big-time trade. Peter, how did it happen?
Yeah, the mechanics of it are interesting. This name had not been public until about 24 hours before the deal actually went down. You actually heard Quincy Williams, Quinnen's brother, and Breece Hall, and yet Sauce and Quinnen were never in those conversations. Cowboys started making them. There were multiple teams that made offers for Quinnen Williams yesterday. The Jets, though, got the best compensation from the Cowboys. The Cowboys gave up a lot in this deal. Multiple picks. And the second rounder that they get this year is what the Jets were harping on. They wanted a second rounder in addition to what they got. They get it in 26. They get the additional first in 27. The Cowboys, they were in a room. It was obviously Jerry, but also Will McClay and Stephen Jones. They were on that conference call with Darren Muji. They pull off the deal. It actually happened earlier in the morning. They waited till after the Mangold funeral services out of respect to everyone in that family. It was made public. Cowboys, they're doing flips. The Jets, they're quietly happy with a giant bounty of picks that they received.
Before I get my guys in here on the Cowboys side of it, Kmart, just your big picture thoughts. It's obviously an earth-shaking kind of trade.
It is, especially if you're in New York. But I understand Marcus's elation because Jerry did something. Jerry did something big. And I think if you look at this move by itself, you say, okay, good player. I love Quinnen Williams, the person, and I love Quinnen Williams, the player. I think the thing when you look at Jerry is he talked on Monday night after that loss about my immediate tomorrows are a big thing to me. This is a move that helps them not today, this season. It helps them next year and the year after that. So I think if you're looking at the Cowboys and thinking, oh, they're going to turn it around with Quinnen Williams, I would say, okay, just hold off just a little bit. Check out their record.
We're doing math today, gentlemen. Quinnen Williams plus Dallas Cowboys equals what?
Watching the playoffs at home still.
Okay,
It does. Look, he is a good player.
Well, that was fun.
He's
He was super excited. It's a good apology.
He's a very good player. He's a very good player. He's not an Aaron Donald-esque type of player that can absolutely lift the pass rush to the degree where it can offset what is probably the worst pass defense in the NFL.
Right.
Okay, a secondary that just gets bludgeoned. We saw that Monday night.
Right.
We saw what the Cardinals did to it. That is really where their Achilles heel lies. Of course, we talked about it, in the green room, or rather in our meeting this morning. Every single year, come November and December, how do we talk about the Cowboys? About them being soft up the middle.
Right.
Well, look, Logan Wilson and Quinnen Williams, along with Kenny Clark, that actually solidifies that. Yeah. That won't be the problem this year.
That's right.
The problem will be pass rush and being able to offset what is going on in the secondary, and that's going to have you sitting at home.
Yeah. I agree. I think from my perspective, this is a very good pickup for the Dallas Cowboys. player-wise. Like talking about like what you're giving up, I'm not getting that. But just from a player perspective, Williams, Wilson, Overshown, Clark, the interior portion of your front seven are now dudes. And defenses are built from the inside out. So what they've got there is how that's the nucleus that you need. Now to lose point about the background or the backfield of this defense, they have to figure a way out to earn the right to pass rush. That means keeping people out of third and shorts and third and and third and manageable. They got to get people where they can rush it because they can rush the passer decently, but you got to earn your way to that. And I think that's what Eberflus is going to have to figure out on the back end because there's way too many guys running wide open. And even you saw Harrison, man, he lit them up, bro, and that's their best corner.
Just remember this too now. They're 32nd, I believe, in the NFL in number of first downs given up by the run.
Yes.
Okay, so that they needed to shut that down first because to Jeff's point, they haven't earned the right to rush the passer anyway. So it's a problem.
A quick reminder, if they're 32nd, there are only 32 teams.
I think Jeff brought up the most important name, which is Eberflus. I think what we've been waiting to see with this defense is can Eberflus take these pieces, see what they have, see what they're best at, and then scheme to fit that.
Right.
And so far, it hasn't worked.
Yep.
Now, I will say, in that building, everybody's excited about, obviously, with Quinnen Williams coming over, but people in that building are like, we need these guys. We need this. Mm-hmm. We see the improvement. They're excited. And the big reason why is Brian Schottenheimer. You could be questionable. You could have questioned the move in terms of hiring him. But so far in that building, he is a motivator. He's a magnet. Those guys believe they still have a chance despite their record.
Final word on this one before I get to the other one.
Quinnen Williams is an excellent young man also. You're adding a great foundational person into the building.
Yeah.
And we all were here in the New York market time to time. You get to meet him. This is one of those guys where, wow, the competition's a lot, but you're banking on the future and what he can establish in the locker room. That's an intangible.
That's such a great point. And every Jet, my phone blew up yesterday, obviously, with the Gardner thing going to the Colts.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure
I wonder if people were interested in hearing your opinion on it.
But the Williams pickup, every Jets fan to a person said, we're going to miss that. He is a class act in the locker room. People love to be around the guy. He has an infectious personality. That's a win in Dallas, man. So good on them.
He'll always be the young man who sneezed and then blessed himself. We'll always have that, Q. We'll always have that. Now, the other blockbuster came earlier in the day, as we mentioned.
Signing him to a $120 million extension. The Jets traded two-time All-Pro corner Sauce Gardner to the Colts for 2 first-round picks and wide receiver Adonai Mitchell. The Jets weren't done. They also traded 3-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys for a 2026 second-round pick, a 2027 first-round pick, and defensive tackle Mozzie Smith. A Jaguars team that has dealt with drops and multiple injuries to its wide receiver room acquired Jacoby Myers from the Raiders. Jacksonville gave up a 4th and 6th round pick in next year's draft. And Myers wasn't the only receiver on the move as the Seahawks acquired Rashid Shaheed from the Saints for a 4th and 5th round pick. Shaheed reunites with offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, and he previously held the same role with the Saints. The red carpet is out, and we are walking it. I mean me. Time for Saturday Speak with NFL analyst and the Hollywood hitmaker, Jeff Saturday. Jeff, give us 3 movie titles for each of these new-look teams, starting with the Colts and Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, back in my homeland. How about the constant Gardner? Sauce Gardner going to Indianapolis. Listen, I think this is a great pickup by the Indianapolis Colts and honestly for the Jets. But you're thinking about defensive flexibility in the backfield. Lou Anarumo wants to be able to bring pressure. He wants to be able to play man behind it. Sauce Gardner gives them a ton of flexibility back there. He can play zone, but he can fit in with man, and that's what Lou wants to do. I think it's a good fit. You should be pairing with Cam Bynum, with Moore, and even Travarius Ward when he comes back. I think that's a good pickup for them. They're trying to make a challenge for that Super Bowl. Going in a New York minute. How about this is the Aaron Glenn full rebuild. And you think about what he's doing. He's getting rid of some of the better players on his football team, but understanding this is what it's going to look like. We're going to start acquiring picks potentially for whether it's a veteran quarterback or a drafting a quarterback, and then building this team in the model that Aaron Glenn wants. Listen, he lived it in Detroit. He knows what it takes. Jets fans, be patient. They got a whole bunch of stuff for Quinnen and Sauce. They have a lot of assets. Now you just got to see how they disperse them. But I think this is a good thing for the New York Jets. And then best defense. You talk about Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson both going to the Dallas Cowboys. And I think Jerry had backed himself into a corner a little bit on the Stephen A. show. Understand, I better go make a splash. Logan Wilson wasn't enough. Goes out and gets Quinnen Williams. But in all honesty, I love the middle of this defense, right? When Overshown gets back, you got Kenny Clark. You're going to have Quinnen Williams together. That'll be a great tandem with good linebackers behind him. When you evaluate defenses, you want to see from inside out. They have...